Hello and welcome to another episode of Slay the Spire. I believe in our last recorded episode we didn't get a win, so this one we're going to get a win. We're coming off of a loss. This was not our previous recorded loss. This was actually the end of a win streak. We got 3 in a row. 1, 2, 3. And then we lost here to the time meter. You know I hate the time meter, but honestly Donu Deka was the big problem. I think we got a little unlucky in the draw order on time meter. I think Donu Deka we just totally underestimated. We died with a couple of potions in our bar. They weren't like solve the fight potions, if I recall correctly. I think one of them was a cultist potion. But we were kind of a poison deck with noxious fumes, burst. We also had a crippling cloud, which was unusual, but I think I ended up being very good in the run. And it just ended in a loss. So let's start a new win streak. It was a very reassuring loss in that it felt like we could have won it if we had better play in the late game, which is a good place to be, I believe. Hexaghost, not a terrible, difficult boss. After the chest, Fire Elite. A couple of late question marks seems like the best option. So before the chest, I guess we're going to do Fire Elite as well. Don't really want to do Elite unless I feel like something here can make me incredibly strong. I don't feel that way. Obtaining a random rare card looks like my favorite. Just at first glance, we could take care of the Burning Elite by sniping it. But it means we have to take a risk that we don't get a fight in one of these 2 question marks. And it means we have to take these 2 question marks. Whereas 1 less question mark on the right here, and you get the fire before the elite, which is better. And then you get the fire before this elite, which is better. So let's obtain a random rare card. Adrenaline, phenomenal. Okay, we'll start here. Doesn't really matter where we chose to start. Neutralize and Survivor still in the deck. They don't skip a shuffle though, which is nice. Not quite dead, so we'll go ahead and full block, and they should be guaranteed dead next turn. Okay. Don't love these options. Flying Knee is okay. Really don't like Flying Knee. I've soured a lot recently on Flying Knee. It's just the extra energy is hard to make sure it doesn't get wasted. And it only comes next turn, so a lot of times it feels like this is just another strike with 2 extra damage on it, which sucks. It's even worse than Strike Plus. Of course, sometimes you can use the extra energy, but not always. We've got 2 more fights and we didn't get a potion. We need to pick a card, I think is what this comes down to. Should we take Crippling Cloud instead? I have a hard time feeling like that is the case. So we'll take Flying Knee. Interesting. We can actually take this relic and just remove the curse. Question card, that's phenomenal. Okay, we're gonna live through 1 fight with that curse in our deck. Let's split the one attacking for 7. I mean we split both of them, but we split this one better. Technically this one still has less life though. Okay, I guess we can do Flying Knee, Strike, Strike, and then we should have lethal next turn. Oh, that was dumb. I could have done Strike, Strike, Flying Knee here, which could have mattered. It didn't matter, but that was a silly mistake to make. Okay, we got a potion, and then we have tons of options. Blade Dance has got to be the best. 1 energy for 12 damage is good, but then there's like a lot of extra synergies. A lot of extra relic synergies you can pick up, but you can't, of course, count on those. Kunai, Shuriken, Ornamental Fan, Pen Nib, Ink Bottle. But there are just so many of them, right? I just rattled off 5 off the top of my head. Card synergies are, you know, accuracy, finisher are the big ones I can think of. Okay, we've kind of oh, there's a finisher, speaking of. We've kind of committed ourselves to removing a regret. But we can still afford that finisher on sale. Oh, Nunchaku, that's another relic synergy I failed to mention. We wouldn't have been able to afford it anyway. These are some sad relics to miss out on. We know that these will not be in the run anymore, which is too bad. These are premium common relics. Some of the best. And that's okay, we'll live without them. But yeah, finisher. Seems good. Seems great. Doesn't always line up with the blade dance, but when it does, we're very happy. Okay, the question is, do we get lethal? This is 18. It can be 24. Plus 8 is 32. Ah, 1 damage off of lethal. That sucks. We should be able to just block and take 2, rather than use the potion. He didn't buff this turn, which is great. Let's adrenaline before we play anything else. Got blade dance. And lethal. Okay, so we took 2 damage, not a big deal. Well, hello, Wraith form. I think you're supposed to pick that every time. We're not going to upgrade it though, we don't need the upgrade right now to beat the elite. We would rather have a finisher or blade dance upgrade. Let's upgrade the blade dance, it makes finisher better. It's a loggable one. We'll probably use this poison potion then. Don't think I want to open right now. With neutralize and 3 defends in my current hand, I won't have those for the attacking turns against Lagavulin. I'm really gonna have a better opener though. Let's just open. I think it's correct to just open. It's a 19 damage opener. It's not gonna get better than that. The defense, like follow up on the defense turns might get better than that, but who's to say? Okay, we can just take 20 here maybe. Or 15. This is interesting. So 18 damage right now. Let's count at the poison real quick. So it's gonna take 5, 4, 3, 2. 5, 4, 3, 2. It's 14. So I'd put it at 56. Next turn, we'll put it down to 50. Yeah, it seems like we need the damage. Maybe not. Yeah, maybe missed out on 5 health there. Although we got a really good draw order, right? If this turn right here had been a bunch of nonsense, the Blade Dance loses 8 damage after we get Strength debuffed. Calculated Gamble is a very good card in general. Masterful Stab is also kind of great with Finisher and Adrenaline, and just the fact that we're early on in Act 1. Kinda like it. We're only fighting one more elite though. So maybe, but it's good in Act 2, right? We're just trying to get strong for Act 2. Glass Cannon build is best for Act 2. And Act 1's not over. I mean, take a look at this. So a few options. 16 plus 12 is 28, which wouldn't split. So that's not a choice. So we do 12, double defend, take 2. That seems pretty good. Or we can Wraith Form, take 1. And we're intangible next turn. We deal no damage. Let's not deal no damage. Dealing no damage seems like a recipe for disaster. Only saves us 1 health this turn. It would save us 2 health this turn if we had Wraith formed previously, but... Well, and it would have caught us up on damage, right? A little bit. Because we wouldn't... No, because we would have been able to defend. It would have saved us 3 life here. Defend, strike, strike. Interesting. Strike, strike puts it down to 40. We're going to defend, defend, strike. Take another 3. Not great. Not great. So, if we deal 8, put it down to 38. That doesn't split. I think that's what we should do. Keep the adrenaline around for next shuffle. Give ourselves extra energy next turn. I think we need the split. Becoming weak is just obnoxious. We're splitting with 18 damage. What are our chances of doing better than that? Not high when we're weak. So we'll just split. These slimes really suck. Yikes, yeah, I'm glad we didn't wait. Okay, I guess we try and kill this back one, because it's guaranteed to be attacking next turn. And the weakness doesn't matter on the front one, because we block anyway. Okay, 9 plus 6 is not good enough there. Okay. So we should Wraith form to take 1 from the front guy. And kill the back guy with all of our shivs. Dang it, he's not attacking. That's really bad. At least we get to toss a couple of slimes. 2 damage off of lethal. That sucks. We have to take another 6 damage. Pretty unlucky fight. Lots of little things just didn't line up well. A second finisher? Well, adding a card gives me an extra 3 life. Because it hits a breakpoint for Eternal Feather at this campfire we're about to go to, which is kind of cool. Second finisher really is not that good though. Second Blade Dance would be much better to help the first finisher line up with Blade Dance more often. Deadly Poison actually is kind of cool though against... Oh, we just picked up a Poison Potion though. And we know that this can't be loggable. So this Deadly Poison makes us way worse against this elite. So maybe I don't like the Deadly Poison pick. So maybe it's Cloak and Dagger. Cloak and Dagger is kind of cool. It's nice for Act 2. Just have a block card that can help us weave in extra damage. It's nice against Lagavulin-ish. Ninja Scroll is great. Now we can upgrade the finisher or the Cloak and Dagger. Let's upgrade the finisher. Okay, we should be able to kill the back guy. Maybe. This would be 12 plus 20. Yeah, we definitely have a kill on the back guy. Okay, I think we should be able to strike the front guy as well. There's no way to get any more damage in on this front guy and kill the back guy. We could have blocked out the back guy and killed the front guy, but that's stupid. Cultist potion, okay. Accuracy? Here's the thing, I think accuracy is going to make us worse in Act 2. It's good in, I think, long fights. It's going to make us better against Hexaghost and the Act 2 boss, but worse against the Act 2 elites and hallway fights, which I care much more about at this point. It's not necessarily true, right? On turn 1, it's a lot of damage because of the ninja scroll. So anytime we get it on turn 1 is really nice. And even if we don't, there's still Blade Dance, Cloak and Dagger for it to help out with. Maybe it lets us save our Cultist potion. I was about to say, you know, the fact that it helps in Hexaghost might be irrelevant if we just say we'll use Cultist potion to guarantee we win that fight. But maybe we don't need to, and maybe we save Cultist potion for the Act 2 boss, and then we get to build our deck to just be more glass cannon-y against the Act 2 elites and hallways. Kinda like that idea. Take an accuracy. Piercing Will's great too, but it's a common. We'll pick it up later when it's better. Yeah, look at this. If you get it on turn 1, it's just so much damage. Like, Gremlin Knob is dead on this turn. It's insane. That's wild. Storm of Steel. Technically good with the accuracy. Kind of lets us pick up a reflex, potentially. We got the adrenaline. Crazy that I think it might be a Storm of Steel. Don't really need the Noxious Fumes, it's not what we're doing. Noxious Fumes is such a weird card. It helps in very specific fights. It helps against Donu Deka to peel Artifact. It helps against Spear and Shield to peel Artifact. It helps against Heart, interestingly enough, mostly to peel Artifact as well. On that second cycle, I can't tell you how many times I've planned to have that Piercing Wail lined up for the second cycle multi-attack, only to realize I don't have any way to get through those 2 artifact charges that are added on the second cycle. Noxious Fumes helps a lot with that. And then Act 3 bosses, it kind of helps against Time Eater. It kind of helps against Donu Deka, but it hurts against Chosen One. But I just named some of the most important fights, so I guess it is a good pick when you're getting ready to prepare for those fights. Of course, we're in Act 1 right now, and it doesn't help in hallways or elites. Technically, it helps against the bosses, but sometimes not even that much. In this case, it would help a decent amount, but we're gonna skip still. The Noxious Fumes. We might take the Storm of Steel. Might take the Storm of Steel. What would we... It doesn't work with Finisher, actually, right? It's kind of anti-synergy with Finisher. I think it's a full skip. Could take the Prepared, but it's not good if it's not upgraded, and I have better upgrades. Accuracy, Wraith Form. Full skip. This is interesting. We could just remove here. Yeah, I like remove. Line up Blade Dance and finish her more often. Get accuracy in her starting hand more often. Surprise chest is always nice. And letter opener does something, so we should take it. Let's upgrade the accuracy for the Hexaghost fight. Wow, actually on turn 1 again, really nice. I guess we can just use the poison potion. I'm worried enough about this fight that even with the upgraded accuracy and accuracy on turn 1, yeah, you can see this turn's a bit of a doozy. Yeah, we'll just full block. And the poison potion is just pretty bad early act too. It just doesn't do very much. So it's like might as well use it for 21 damage in this fight instead of like 11/15 damage in Act 2. Take 1 damage here, not a huge deal. Yeah. Poison definitely is looking like overkill though. Maybe not, it's dealt 21 damage, right? It dealt all the damage, and we're still not quite there. We're just like, definitely not there. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with the poison potion. Do we Wraith form? No. It'll make it more difficult for us to block Inferno if we need to. Which we might need to. Yeah, it looks like we do. Yeah, imagine if Hexaghost was at 21 extra life right now. That would be... Oh, we're just dead. 40. Unbelievable that we're dead. I mean, yeah, I guess we were too greedy to hold on to the Cultist potion. But also, this is just terrible draw order. We're exactly dead. Attacking for 36. Plus 2 burns is 40. 35 plus 5 block is 40. One less burn in our hand would have done it, so we needed to draw... We had 11 cards left in our deck. We needed to draw 2 burns at least. And draw no more than 1 defend. / cloak and dagger. And not draw Blade Dance at all, because Blade Dance is just lethal. Crazy. Okay. Well. It's been 23 minutes. We'll just post this, I guess. I'm working on a more long-form scripted video, more like a review style series on my channel. I want to continue to upload stuff in the meantime, but I don't have a huge amount of time. I do have a lot of time these days because I'm on summer break, but we're running out of summer break, and I want to spend summer break on leisure, more so than I would during my school year. And so I'm intentionally not, giving myself 6 to 8 hour work days for my channel. I do want to work on my channel every day, but if I'm choosing to spend some days just working on like long form scripted stuff, it means I'm going to go more days at a time without any uploads at all on my channel, which I don't want to do. But that means I should be less picky about what I'm willing to upload just in the meantime. So if I can spend 30 minutes on an interesting, but maybe admittedly disappointing / short Slay the Spire run and get that as an upload on my channel, I am going to do that. So while other Slay the Spire streamers might wait until they have a particularly juicy run to upgrade at full length, you have settled for this, which I appreciate. I appreciate you being here and watching. The video length, of course, gave away that we didn't make it. We didn't make it. Part of it was a little bit of bad RNG in the Hexaghost fight. Of course, if we had slowed down in the Hexaghost fight, we had the tools to make sure we won. We just wanted to save those for Act 2, which might not have even been wrong, right? It might have been correct to take whatever low chance there was of us dying to make sure that we actually can beat Act 2, because this deck does not look like it's on its way to beating the Act 2 boss. Of course, you have a whole act to get ready for that, but it makes sense to want to save the Cultist Potion. I stand by that decision. So hopefully we learn something here, right? Even the short runs, we can learn something. What did we learn? I mean, we learned that you can't win them all, right? Maybe it's like if you have a run and you stand by all of your decisions, kind of like I'm doing here. I'm not saying we made every decision correctly, but I do stand by my decisions just in our quick analysis. What did we learn from that? We learned that like sometimes it's okay to know that you lost. Like, just because you die, and there is a way to not die, observable, doesn't mean that that was the correct play. A more obvious way to think about this is in the middle of, let's say, Act 1, and you have a fire potion, and you're going up against a hallway fight, a hard fight. All right, let's say it's a hard pool fight. Let's say it's a large slime. We fought a large slime in this act. Let's say you're going up against a large slime. It's attacking you for 18. You can use the fire potion to split it, and let's say that would solve the fight for you for reasons that make sense. 23 damage for a nice split against large slime really feels like it can seal the deal. And let's say you didn't draw any block, so it's attacking for 18. You have enough attacks in your hand to get it just above split, so you can actually split it, which means you have to either take 18 damage or use the fire potion, and that fire potion guarantee saves you 18 damage, maybe more, right? Because it also solves the fight, so you're guaranteed to not take any damage after that. Well, okay, we can make the analogy a little bit more complicated. If you use the fire potion now, it gives you a 95% chance to take no more damage. But a 5% chance that you die. Let's say you're at 20 health. And so if you don't fire potion, you could live, and like you'll usually finish off. Okay, this analogy is getting too complicated. Let's simplify it again. Let's go back to just you use the fire potion, you solve the fight. Or you could take 18. A lot of times it's correct to take 18 because the next fight is like an elite, and you will die 100% to the elite if you waste the fire potion. So yeah, you do need to complicate the analogy a little bit to be perfect here, but we're kind of in a situation where it's like we could use the Cultist Potion to solve Hexaghost. We have an Act 2 boss coming up that we have a high chance of dying to without Cultist Potion. And we had a low chance of dying to Hexaghost if we choose not to drink the Cultist Potion. And we just happen to hit that low chance. And sometimes that's okay. It's like, sometimes you have to choose between a 5% chance of dying and a 10% chance of dying. You should always choose the 5% chance of dying. And if you choose that, and then you die, that doesn't mean you should have chosen the 10% chance of dying. It just means you got unlucky. I feel like that's about what happened here. Now, the more I'm talking about, the more I'm kind of feeling a little suspicious about my claim that if we drink the Cultist Potion, we will die to the Act 2 boss. Act 2 is long, and it gives you a lot of time to get ready for whoever the boss is. So it's hard to say. Let me know if you think I should have drank the Cultist Potion. It's easy to say that you think I should have drank the Cultist Potion since we died. We could actually, if we just want to like stretch the episode a little bit longer, I know most of you don't care for this part of the, actually don't know that, but I assume there are a lot of people who don't care for the post-analysis part of these videos, but I'm kind of interested in it. We had 11 cards in our deck. 3 of them were burns. 1 of them was Blade Dance. 3 of them were defense, and 1 of them was Cloak and Dagger. So that means 3 of them were strikes if we're getting up to 11. We've got 3 defense, Cloak and Dagger, Blade Dance, 3 burns. That's 8. There are 11 cards, so yeah, 3 strikes. So we only died to Inferno if we don't draw Blade Dance, and we do draw 2 or 3 burns. So not drawing Blade Dance is about a 50-50. And not drawing... no, Cloak and Dagger doesn't actually solve the fight for us, so we can't... It gets a little bit more complicated. But no Blade Dance and 2 burns. How many ways are there to draw 2 burns? Well... assuming that we don't draw Blade Dance. 50-50 for each burn to be in our hand. So an eighth of the time you get all 3. An eighth of the time you get 2 out of 3. But there are 3 ways to do that because there are 3 burns. So it's like 3 out of 8. Yeah, I think that sounds right. So it's another 1/2 the time you get 2 or 3 burns. So that puts us at a quarter chance. But then there's also the issue that you need to not draw any defense. Also, keep in mind, at this point in the shuffle, Cultist Potion wouldn't have saved us anymore. So if we had stopped and done the math looking at what was left in our draw pile, it was too late to use the Cultist Potion to save us. So we would have needed to foresee much earlier that... Which means like the odds are even more difficult to calculate. And maybe we got more unlucky than these odds are letting on. Maybe we got less unlucky than these odds are letting on, and maybe in reality it was actually clear that there was as high as a 25% chance that we were going to be dead to Hexaghost when we looked at the beginning of that shuffle. And maybe we could have used the Cultist Potion at the beginning of that shuffle to save us. I don't know. But just looking at that second to last turn, 11 cards in the deck, it's already down to a 25% chance that we both miss the Blade Dance and hit 2 burns or more. But then you also have to miss getting 2 out of the 4 defensive cards. So 2 out of 4. I guess that's another 1/2 probably, something like that. Yeah, 4 defensive cards. No, it's much less likely than 1/2 because the split down the middle point is a win for you. You have to have 3 defends slash 3 defensive cards in the draw pile out of 4. So the only way to do that is either a 1 in 16, where all 4 defensive cards miss the 50-50, or 4 of the ways that you could hit a 1 in 8. No, it's another 1 in 16. 4 cards, 50-50, so draw pile, draw pile, draw pile. Hand is a 1 in 16, because those are all a 50-50 chance. But there are 4 ways to do it. So times 4 is a 1 in 4. Plus the 1 in 16 is a 5 in 16 chance. So 0.25 times 5 in 16. These are rough numbers. Is 7.8% chance. I think that's like a roughly good idea of how unlucky we got. 7.8% to die from that second to last turn. Now again, at that point in time, we had no decision making to do anyway because Cultist Potion wouldn't have saved us. But if you back that up, you know, and just simplify, and I know we've already simplified the probabilities, but if you just simplify the strategy analysis and say that going into that fight, we had a 7.8% chance of losing if we didn't Cultist Potion on turn 1. You're probably supposed to Cultist Potion on turn 1, if you know that. If you... Let's say there are like 5 critical fights per act where you get this really big decision, and you just have like this potion usage situation where it's like either I use this potion and take this chance I die, or I save this potion and we live to fight another, or I guess the other, we save the potion and have this chance we die, or we use the potion and guarantee we live to fight another day. If those all come down to 1% chances, if you get into a fight, it's an important fight, and you're like, alright, there's a 1% chance I die here, but I can use this potion to save myself the 1%. If you always take that and say 1% is so small, I should always take the 1% chance that I lose to make sure that like I don't have to take a 10% chance that I lose against the boss or whatever. By the way, the 5 critical fights that I'm kind of counting up off the top of my head in every act are 2 or 3 elites, 2 or 3 or 1 or 2 hard pool fights, and then the boss. So it's like 3 elites and 1 of the hard pools can be like a very critical fight over the course of an act. It could be more than that, could be less than that. Maybe you don't take that many elites, maybe the hard pools aren't that hard. But, and of course the boss fight. So if that's 5 per act, that's 15 times. So if there are 15 times over the course of a run, you know, let's say 16 since there are 2 bosses at Act 3, that you are putting yourself in a situation where you're taking only a 99% chance to win rather than guaranteeing that you win by using a potion or something like that. Or, you know, maybe it's like picking up a card in the previous award that helps in the very next fight but none of the others, something like that. and you're like, oh, there's a 99% chance I win if I don't take this card, but a 1% chance I lose. Or I can guarantee that I win by just taking this card, and that solves the fight, but it makes me worse for the rest of the run, something like that. So every time you're offered these little 1%ers, if it happens like 16 times over the course of a run, just in the first 3 acts, it turns out that your chances of winning are 0.99 to the 16th power, which is 85%, which is actually pretty good, right? If you had an 85% win rate, you'd win streak a lot. But the reason I bring this up is because we were in a situation kind of like that, where it's like we can use this resource and guarantee we win, or don't use it, and then we only usually win. How much is that usually? For us, it was 92%, basically. 92% chance that we win. And if you think about 92.92, if we every time we have a 92% chance to win a fight, if we choose to be greedy by saving the potion or not picking the card reward that would help in the fight, if that happens about 16 times over the course of the run, 0.92 to the 16th power, guess how much worse it is than an 85% win rate? It's a 26% win rate. So you need to be able to build your deck and pilot your fights in a way that those critical moments that pop up over the course of the run, that you need to choose to be greedy for, you're only being greedy for a very small chance that you lose. If the chance that you lose is 95%, or rather 5% or more, meaning your chance of winning is 95% or less, you are not allowed to choose to be greedy every time. Your win rate will plummet. And that's a very small difference. Figuring out the difference between, oh yeah, I usually win this, being a 99% usually win this, and a 92% usually win this, is the difference between an 86% win rate and a 26% win rate. Because those decisions compound on each other over the course of a run. So, rewinding back to our analysis, while the logic of recognizing that even if you get unlucky, your decision might have still been correct, that's good logic. Even though we got unlucky, it's still possible that our decision to greed the cultist potion was correct. In this case, it wasn't, I would say, because we didn't get as unlucky as it seemed to me. In other words, Hexaghost was not as free as I thought it was, which that type of analysis comes up a lot, where it's like, oh, I guess I wasn't as good against Hexaghost as I thought I was. But it's important to do the math sometimes to understand like what it means to not have been good enough against Hexaghost. We had a 92% chance, maybe, right? I mean, these numbers are rough and estimates, and there are just a lot of variables. But if we go ahead and conclude we had a 92% chance to beat Hexaghost, that is what it means to not be good enough against Hexaghost to greed the cultist potion. If you have a 95% chance to win against Hexaghost, it's a little bit different. We can crunch the numbers on that also, continuing to use our 16... Excuse me, sorry. If you continue to use our 16 critical moments analogy over the course of a run, or I guess it's an assumption, our 16 critical moments assumption, over the course of a run, you can kind of calculate exactly what risk level you're allowed to take if you're trying to maintain a certain win rate. So 95 is a nice clean number. 95 to the 0.95 to the 16th power is a 44% win rate. If you take a 5% chance of dying 16 times over the course of a run, you will lose most of your runs. So you need to be even greedier than that, like a 97% win rate. Or sorry, a 97% success rate spread over 16 critical moments in the run would give you a 61% win rate, which is like pretty good. And I think we hover somewhere around 50% when we're playing our best. But it's probably less than that because it's easy to say that if you just throw out every time you die as I wasn't playing my best, then you're not really capturing, you know, your true win rate. There are reasons to throw out runs or loss streaks because you're like, oh, I was just jamming games. I wasn't really playing competitively against myself for whatever reason. Like, that does happen. But you do want to be careful about just saying, it's like if we look at our last 10 games, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, there are 3 wins. So it's like, that's like a 30% win rate. Have a few more wins here if you go back a little bit farther. So maybe our win rate's like 40% if you do the last 15 games. But it is telling that our wins are all in a row, right? All 3 of the wins that we got in the last 10 games were all in a row, which kind of indicates that there is a consolidation of our quality of play, that if we're able to play our best every time, or if we choose to play our best every time, maybe our win rate would be higher than 30%. Anyway, that mostly checks out, right? Because I did the math. I said my 92% chance thing. If I'm looking at every 92% chance I see and saying, I can greed it. If I do that 16 times over the course of the run, I would expect to have a 26% win rate, which is about what I have right now. Now, it's a little bit trickier than that because you know, sometimes you do need to greed it. But you need, basically, you're trying to build your deck in a way and path yourself. That's a big part, is pathing, right? But path yourself in a way that you are either taking your 92% guarantees, just you're taking those risks way less often. So like you could see in this run, we were never in any risk until the boss, right? So if you would take a 92% spread over just 5 critical moments in the run, let's say the 4 bosses in Act 1, 2, and 3, and then Spear and Shield in Act 4. So leading up to the heart, you have 5 critical moments where you can choose to be greedy for a 92% chance to win, or just, you know, become a little weaker to guarantee that you win that fight. If there are only 5 critical moments, 0.92 to the 5th power is 66%, which is pretty good. Of course, you would like to get that up a little bit more, but it's a lot better than the 26% I was saying before, where if you have 16 critical moments that you're choosing to be greedy. Slay the Spire is a very complicated game, so all of this statistics and post-game analysis is very abstract compared to what you're actually facing in a specific run. It's really hard to consider all of the variables going into the Hexaghost fight, and whether or not you need to use that Cultist potion, rather than just like crunch a few numbers for 20 minutes like we're doing here. Which is crazy, right? It's like we've been here for like 20 minutes crunching numbers, and I'm saying that it's still like way oversimplified compared to like the actual decision you're facing in a run. And it's not reasonable to spend 20 minutes on every floor doing this same kind of analysis. So you really need to develop like an intuition, an instinct, and a feel for what's too risky every time you skip a card. If you're being too greedy to not add that card to your deck because the card technically helps now, but mostly hurts in the future. So what's that threshold? But the other thing that this analysis is missing is that every time you take your greedy play, every time you don't take your greedy play, you're increasing the risk at the future critical points in the run. Right? If we don't take the greedy play and we just use the cultist potion, now at the next critical moment in the run, we're not facing a 92% failure rate. We're facing like an 88% failure rate because we don't have the cultist potion anymore. So we didn't calculate that quite so much in our statistics here, and that's because it's really difficult to calculate. It's hard to crunch those numbers. And also, we should probably wrap up. Thank you for watching. I said that earlier, right? I do this all the time where I act like I'm going to wrap up, and then I think of something else and I just extend it. But if you are watching this, I appreciate it. I'll go ahead and put a little disclaimer in the title that this is an Act 1 run plus some post-game statistics. If you're interested in that, then that's why you're here. I think statistics are very interesting. The role that they play in strategy games, I think, is very interesting. And I'm sure there are other people out there like me who feel the same way. So hopefully those people are able to find their way to this video. Otherwise, that's okay too. You can take off earlier in any of these videos if you want. I appreciate the support, even if you just like watch the first half of my videos, or if you just watch them at 2 times speed for 5 minutes. Any little bit helps. So thank you for being here, and I'll see you next time.